Awesome. Thank you, Joshua. Lee Ann Brown. I am with the Morton Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Council, and just thrilled to be, especially with this group again and this year. That was one moment in time from the big table last year that really stood out in my mind, is the gathering of our facilitators, and just what a great, incredible leadership group. Certainly, as a lot of us alluded to, learning this year and dealing with trying times and a crazy journey, I think many people realized what matters close to home. And that's why I'm excited about the big table and the continuation, as the big table in my mind is really a platform to gather people and conversations. You know, people throughout our entire region is what makes our region. You know, we're all God-given abilities, and all of us coming to the table to share those abilities is what we want through the big table. I've been asking groups during my time of community and economic development for many years now, of who else is missing at the table. And that's always my big ask back to those that are participating. When you go back to your organizations and your communities, constantly ask, who else is missing from the table and who else can we invite? So great to be here with everyone and kick off our virtual big table. A lot of excitement to come. So thank you for your time and your willingness to really help us propel forward Big Table 2020. So can everybody see the screen that is being shared, content? Little head nod if you can. So again, just to recap, Joshua and both of us alluded to this, what is the big table? We continue to say it is the gathering, the connectivity, the collaboration of our regional community building. And we want to continue those conversations and key takeaways and action steps that we can keep moving through. As several entities alluded to, we want people to leverage this information as you work through your strategies and how you can be more a part of the big table. So thanks again. And now our lineup of sessions. So we welcome you as facilitators to facilitate multiple sessions, and we certainly encourage you to attend all of the sessions. We have a good lineup of content for each of them, and we look forward to hosting these areas. So just a reminder there of the areas, and put in the chat box of which one you want to facilitate. Just to give you a little lay of the land, for the day that you are going to be facilitating, we wanted to break out the schedule here. You will be receiving the Zoom login prior to the session. One key note is we're asking all facilitators to arrive at least 10 minutes early to your session. That way we can welcome you in, give you any last minute updates that we need to, and make sure we're ready to go to start the session at 11:30. Each session will be an hour and a half. We are planning and hoping for each facilitator to have around 8 to 12 people in your breakout room. Ideally, it'd be closer to that 8 number. But registration is still open and people are still responding to that. So you might have a little bit higher number in your breakout sessions. We are gonna try and leave, as you can see on this schedule, a good 40 minutes to have your breakout session. So we really want that time to be the bulk of the hour and a half, and make sure you can really have good table conversation and capture that information. And then we will have a rapid fire report out from the facilitators. So we'll go through this in detail of what that's gonna look like for you, and how you will capture information, and how you can easily do a rapid fire report out. So that'll be in the recap to close out the sessions. So moving on to duties. As I mentioned, arrive early. Your next action step, we'll go ahead and practice. Hopefully you're familiar with Zoom, or maybe, I guess not hopefully, but we're still at Zoom. So if you could add to your name, so we want your full name, and then at the end, add facilitator. So if you can go ahead and go in and you go up to rename and go ahead and change your name title with your full name and adding facilitator. That could be the first thing that you do when you log into your Zoom session. That will be our identifier to make sure each breakout session has a facilitator and we know who that facilitator is. We'll go through here in a minute on taking notes. We're actually going to practice that. That's why you all have a number. And then we have some kind of cheat sheets here that we'll go through on keeping the conversation moving in social media that will give you a few tips here. And then the key thing is to make sure that you fill out the post survey. So you as facilitators will have a survey, and also know that all participants will be receiving a survey. But since we're not in person and trying to capture the information, conversations, and the impact, so we can really show our action steps, that post survey is going to be really critical. And then, Audrey, are we ready to move into some action on training here?
Yes. So really quick, it looks like most of you guys got the changing your name. If you are unsure about how to change your name, you click in the 3 dots that are in your video box, and then you should see a drop-down menu pop up and see rename come up, and then you should be able to add facilitator to your name. Again, we are going to be manually, as the session speakers are speaking in the first 15 minutes, we're going to be manually assigning these breakout rooms. And the only way for us to know that you intend to be a facilitator and that we get a facilitator into each breakout room is by having that facilitator after your name. So that's really important. And if you have any questions on that, just email me after this and I can help you out with that. We can also rename people too. So we can help you with that if you're having trouble finding it. So what we are going to do now is, hold on, I got to get my screen up. Okay, so does everyone have the link that I sent in the email earlier? I can also, I'm going to share it in the chat real quick as well. If you guys could jump into that document, I'm going to show you how this is going to work. And you should be able to just grab it right there from that. So what is going to happen is, as you'll see, and this is just practice, this doesn't mean that you are going to be facilitating innovation entrepreneurship. We just kind of have met with these leaders and we have these questions pretty parsed out. So we're just using it as it would be shown for whichever session that you guys are going to be facilitating. So we're going to ask you, no one else will see this except for facilitators. So only facilitators are going to get this link, and you guys are the only ones that are going to have access. I see a bunch of people in there. Is anybody having trouble getting in? Nope. Okay, awesome. So this is where your number comes in. So what happens is when we put you into the breakout rooms within Zoom, you'll automatically be assigned to a room, and there will be one of you per breakout room with about 7 to 10 other people like Leanne was talking about. And when you're in a breakout room, up in the upper left-hand corner, it will say breakout room number 4, breakout room number 5. And that is going to be your column that you're going to be working in to take notes for us. Because instead of, like many of you guys were facilitators last year, so instead of having the 3M sticky sheets, this is what we're replacing all of those with, and this is how we're going to be gathering notes. So on the plus side, you can kind of see, you'll be able to see what other groups are saying, what other groups are talking about. But please try to stick into your own column and when you're typing. So we're gonna practice. Everyone's going to go into your column, and what should happen is that A column with the questions should be frozen for you. So as you scroll over to your column, you should be able to see the questions still. So if everybody could just, in their assigned number, write test in the any entrepreneurs in the group, any good stories. So that's row 3, write test in your row 3, just to make sure that we know that everybody is in here and kind of understands how we're gonna all be collaborating within this document at the same time. Awesome, look at that. So this is how this is gonna work. And you know, you can, what's going to happen is as you write more in the column, as you can see, I just kind of was practicing in the group 1 sheet, and I'll share this real quick. And let's see, screen 2. So if you can see under my group 1, as I typed more, the column will get bigger. So you don't actually have to move the width of the column at all as you keep going. I'm so sorry, Brandon. I must have not, I missed group 14. Sorry. And then I'll address Clint's question in a second. So yes, you can, everybody looks like they've got it. That's awesome. Any questions on how we're gonna do this? Besides Clint's question, I'll get to that. So you do have screen sharing capability within your breakout room, and that's totally up to your comfort level. So if you would like to share your screen and take notes at the same time, you can do that. I think there's plus and minuses to both, because once you start screen sharing, of course, it's less interactive with the faces on the screen. But also, you know, you may have some visual people who may want to be seeing those notes as they're going up. So that's totally a preference for you as a facilitator as you lead that group. If you want to share, you can, or you can just be in here with the facilitators and taking notes. So any questions on that process? I will be sending out an email with all this information and the actual document that you're going to use. I do want to get your feedback though. So right now you can see at the bottom, I have Innovation Entrepreneurship as a tab. Would you guys be comfortable with me having it be all one sheet and there's a tab at the bottom for each session, and every time you come in to facilitate, you're just going into the same sheet? Does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So that's how we'll do it. We'll make a tab at the bottom for each session, and then everybody will be able to get in, log back into that sheet for each session. Any other questions on this or how we're going to be collecting? One other thing that I'll just make note of is that once you guys are doing your report out, you know, we are going to keep those report outs to 90 seconds per person to try to make sure that each group gets to give a report out. So you want to capture whatever the most important thing from your session was. If you had an aha moment, if you had a great story, if there's just something really important about that topic that you think needs to be shared with everyone, but we do ask that you limit it to 90 seconds. And if you do start to creep up to that 90 seconds or go past it, you will get a private message from someone on our team just telling you it's time to wrap it up. Totally don't take offense to that. We're just wanting to make sure that everybody gets in. And, you know, it is a really cool thing and we get some cool stories out of the big table. We just want to make sure that every person gets a chance to speak. Leanne, anything to add?
Yeah, if you do uncover a really good story or somebody that should be interviewed, feel free to note that, you know, send a private message to Audrey or even Josh Albrecht with Discover Peoria. They'll be doing multiple media outreaches through this. So we certainly want to capture those interviews and those stories. So if it's something well beyond that 90 seconds and something that should be really captured, make sure you're noting that and sharing the contact information with Audrey or Josh Albrecht.
Mm-hmm. And then
just refresh your memory. We're doing a lot of the same setup as far as how the session will start. So each session will have a few speakers that will begin the conversation. So it can start to plant the seed and generate some thoughts and conversation starters before you go into your breakout session with your group. So, a lot of good content to kind of launch into your session. And then we have kind of a little cheat sheet questions that we'll share with you for discussions. And we really encourage you, sometimes this is a challenge, especially with what a lot of us do on a daily basis. We want to really be a part of the conversation and lead the conversation, but really try and allow the attendees to be heard. Feel free to ask prompting questions, but certainly we want that time spent for table conversation from all attendees. So try and make sure everybody's participating, and always those good questions to ask to the group to keep the conversation going. A lot of us have various viewpoints and opinions, and we can certainly capture that. But hopefully we can keep the conversation going in broad sense and really capture the opinions of the attendees. Audrey, missing anything else on that one?
No, I don't think so. You guys have, these are just kind of bulleted from the conversation guide and the social media tips sheets that are in your packets, and we did edit those to make sense for the virtual format. So if you guys just want to take a look at those at some point in time before the big table actually happens, that would be great.
Yeah, social media tips. A lot of this, is post, but certainly prior to starting now, share your excitement to be a part of the big table. Encourage others to still sign up. If you are comfortable with capturing a photo when you first log in, and share that, and then certainly afterwards connecting with your breakout session and others to share the experience would be greatly appreciated. And just to highlight, we are tracking well with attendees. So just wanted to give you a little snapshot of the response that we've already had with attendees. I think Audrey's got a screen to share with you. So in total, we're at 546. Of course, some of them are duplicated because they're attending multiple sessions, but we feel really positive about where we're tracking with registrations and a diverse representation throughout the region. But certainly room for many more to join. So share that registration is still open.
Clint put a great question in the chat. So he asked if the breakouts will be recorded, and do attendees need to know they're being recorded? So we will send that out ahead of time and make mention of it during the actual event to let people know that we will be recording. However, we are not recording the breakout sessions. We'll be recording the session leaders, and then we'll be recording the facilitator report out and the closing remarks. So, and then just so you know as well, during the facilitator report out, we are going to have a couple of people from our committee taking live notes on a Word doc, just a Google Doc, as you guys are reporting out. So those times will be less interactive with all the people on the screen. The most interactive time is going to be you all in your breakout rooms with those people. So those conversations are very, very important. However, we don't have a way to capture all those conversations, so we will not be recording them. So that's why we're relying heavily on your note taking during the actual event.
And then just another quick reminder, survey. Survey it says, so make sure afterwards you fill out the survey and get that back to us as well. With that, maybe I'll jump back to Joshua for just touch points on some overall goals through the big table, and then we'll open up for any questions.
Sure. Yeah, you know, from a goals perspective, I think it's important to point out that before I go into this list of goals here, you know, there are a lot of tangible things that come out of the big table, and it's not just us convening to talk about issues. I've been impressed by all the work that happens as a result of the big table. And as a person that's relatively new to the community, I just want to let you all know who've been doing this work for a while, you know, this is groundbreaking work, and it's really, really special to Peoria. And I hope that all of you are really proud of the progress being made through the big table. Some of the goals, as you see, are keeping this event alive and ongoing. We want to, the big table happens once a year, but the work should live on beyond just the sessions. And that seems to be already happening. Community input and data that can be used by all of our partner organizations and the region. You know, there are many organizations across the country who pay a lot of money to get the access to this type of data, right? The conversations that we'll have here are extremely valuable, and I hope that all of the partner organizations in this space will leverage that data to be more impactful in our community. Another goal is input that will help us tell the region's story better. You know, we know how great the Peoria region is. We know all the exciting innovation that's happening here. We know the collaboration that the big table has fostered. And we hope that we continue to tell this story in an even better way as a result of the big table. Increase collaboration across the region. You know, we're, as Andre so eloquently stated, you know, a fist is stronger than a finger, and we united are much stronger than we are in our separate realms. So we want to continue to increase and foster collaboration across our region. And the fifth is to identify those tangible action steps, right? The things that we can actually do as a result of the conversations we'll have at the big table. And excuse me, I got a little tickle in my nose. Try not to sneeze in the middle of my goals remarks. But, you know, again, there's a lot of tangible action that's already happened as a result of the big table. You know, we've seen some work through our Workforce Alliance, which really started, it was sparked through the big table and has now manifested itself in things like the GPEAK certification partnership with ICC. And we want to continue to create tangible outcomes from the big table. With that, would love to take a moment and offer a chance for any questions from anyone, anything that we can clarify, or any just general questions we can answer today.
And there may be a number in the system or something, but if there is a technical problem, do we have like a help desk or someone to call as you know, live phone call make?
Yes, great question. So we'll put a number that you can text if you're having trouble. Also, what I read is that there's an ask for help button in the breakout room session, but I personally don't remember ever seeing that. So I'm telling you that there's an ask for help button, but what we'll also do as a backup is send you a number that you can text if you have an issue within one of the breakout rooms.
I do have a question. Is the process similar to last year in terms of where the data will be stored going forward? And is there a plan for celebration or to kind of reveal, hey, here's what we captured? Has there been discussion on that at this point?
I'm sorry, Audrey, were you about to answer?
I can answer part of it, and then maybe you can answer the other part. But we do, so we're not going to do the big report that we did last year that Peoria Magazine's made. We are, though, we have a whole working group that meets weekly to work on this. So as a working group, we are going to come up with a report from each session. And so we will make that available on the Big Table website, send it out to all the participants like we did before. And last year, like you're alluding to, we did do a press conference as kind of a celebration post the Big Table event. And we haven't fully discussed that yet, just because there's some weirdness around doing a big gathering like that right now. But Joshua, do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, Marcia, thank you for the question. We have had several discussions about how we might report out about what happens at the big table. We've even started to explore whether or not we can capture the Zoom videos and edit them into some format that would be cool. But it's challenging, right? It's just it's a completely different year, and we want to maximize the impact and celebrate this story as best we can. Perhaps we could lean on you all a bit more on this, Marcia, and maybe have conversations about what might be possible from a media standpoint. Maybe a virtual press conference is a good idea, but the working group is working really hard at making sure we maximize the impact. We won't do sort of that big deliverable from last year, the magazine style big table report, but we're certainly going to capture the data, report it out to the public, as well as share it on the Big Table website. I think I saw Andre with his hand raised. Andre, you got a question?
Yeah, as far as, as we're collecting the thoughts from the different groups that we're facilitating, I know me personally, I get a little happy when it comes to typing, and so, which I'm excited about because my handwriting was terrible last year when I was writing on the big boards. Is there a limit? Should we try to be concise? Because I want to think about those who have to try to attempt to interpret this and create themes and follow trends from this. So is there any type of guide when we come to, us being scribes and recording what we're taking from our breakout sessions under each question?
Andre, what a great question, especially coming from someone who's on the committee that's going to be going through all this data.
Just saying, just thinking about the team.
Yeah, so I think, I would try to be as concise as possible while still capturing it all. Whatever you can fit in that cell is great, but yeah, we'd like it to make sense, but yet not write us a book in each cell, if that makes sense.
And I guess my follow-up question is, once the session's over, are we essentially supposed to be done with our notes? Or are we going to have, let's say, for instance, we're just trying to get our thoughts down and then we want to revisit and then, add more to it. So is there a time frame when hey, we need all the notes in the Google Doc? At this point, maybe for some of us who just might write bullet points and then elaborate a little bit later just to try to keep conversations going between each question.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's something that we have the advantage to be able to do this year that you couldn't do last year. So I think we'll give you guys a time frame in which you could go back and revisit. It won't be very long after the event, but maybe anytime during the week of the event through Friday, you could go back and we'll keep that open so that you can edit, and I'll send a reminder email to you guys. Will get lots of emails from me. So I'll send a reminder email letting you know when it's going to close for sure and when we're going to start actually parsing through the data.
Cool. All right. That's my last question. I'm done. Thank you.
No, man, good, really great questions. Thank you, Andre. Any other questions? Anyone else have anything that we can clarify or just general questions for the group? Okay, hearing none. Leanne or Audrey, do you have anything else to add before we close?
No other specific details, just a big advanced thank you for all your time and energy and being a part of the process, and keep sharing the news out there. Registration's open, and thanks again.
Yeah. Go ahead, Audrey.
As always, I think we were all nervous to do this in a virtual format and what it might mean, but I'm already encouraged by the quality of table facilitators that are on this call. I'm excited that you guys are all willing to take this leap virtually with us. And so thank you guys so much.
Yeah, I echo that. This doesn't happen without you all, and we've all had to adjust and adapt and pivot this year, and we're grateful for your flexibility and your willingness to stay committed to this work. We do still have facilitator spots open. Obviously, the more facilitators we have, the smaller our groups can be. So if you know anyone that you think could be good at helping us with the table facilitator spot, please send them our way. Send to Audrey, and we can get you all connected. And of course, please tell everybody that you know to register. Registration is still open. We can have up to 500 people per session. We're close to around 200 right now. So lots of room for all your friends and family and coworkers and colleagues. So let's spread the word and let's pack the house. Zoom gives us some added seats, so let's take advantage of them. And again, thank you all so much for the time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.